big misconception among America is that people who are on welfare always want to stay on welfare.
I would say half of homeless individuals in this country, and there's been no scientific study, but I would say that half just need a job, a cheap apartment, health care, and those folks can solve their own situation.
Just stayed the night in a shelter in Springfield, Massachusetts. And I slept on a cot, and there was a metal bar right in the middle of my back. And I thought, wow, this is a comfortable sleep for some guys. They're appreciative of this. I too was appreciative, but it was pretty painful. And I slept in a big room with probably 100 guys. Pretty quiet. Only a couple people yelling out, people having nightmares, people snoring. There's only one shower facility for that room that I knew of. And I just happened to wake up at 5 and ask about showers. And I did not know the system. It's just the simple things we take for granted. They're so difficult when I'm home.
The night manager of the facility told me that because of the living wage issue, people with full-time jobs slept at the shelter so they could save what money they did make for clothes, food, and small luxuries.
So this is my first morning in Chicago, and I couch surfed with a guy I went to grad school with. Thank you very much. It's getting tough. I miss my wife, but I'll see if I can get it done. It's getting kind of hard.
On my way to Portland, I had time to think about the variety of people who are out here without a home.
To me, it's like one thing to be homeless. It's one thing to act homeless. I could be homeless, but I don't want to act it. When I'm on the streets and I'm going somewhere and you see the guy on the corner in a wheelchair with one leg, about 70, 80 years old, I think to myself, like, how? How is that even possible? Being homeless, you can pick up bad habits, but I try not to. I don't like to ask for anything. So I'm not finna be on the corner asking for change. You know, I need more than just change. I don't want to live off benefits. And I think that's another thing that people need to understand. It's not just about money. Money is not going to keep you anywhere. People like to think money makes the world go round, and to me it doesn't. It's all about your faith in God. You know, that's what keeps me going. That's what motivates me.
The drive from Chicago to Portland took 3 days. Along that drive, my mind tried to digest everything I had experienced so far, but my body also started to break down, and it became this high-minded, low-browed journey into oddity.
I just got up and spent the night in, I can't remember where I am, and I'm in the back of my car, and I thought it would be a good time to have the talk. Sorry I'm all greasy and crazy looking. So now it looks kind of disturbing, but I miss my wife. And there's a adult side to a couple, and I have been out on the road, and there's no place I can take care of any urge that I have, and I miss my wife. I miss my wife. Sometimes it's a distraction, and I can't do anything about it because I don't want to get arrested, and I don't want to be a pervert.
Speaking of perverts, or more specifically registered sex offenders, one of the homeless advocates I spoke with said this group was the gorilla in the room when it came to the homeless population. Sex offenders are getting pushed out of communities and onto the streets, where they cannot stay 1,000 feet from a homeless child while they are both crouched underneath the same bridge some rainy night. In Sanford, a man wanted to talk with me, but a homeless woman ran him off, calling him a pervert, saying, "I know what you did." World and trying to be self-sufficient. can be anywhere from difficult to impossible.
Many people don't have a feeling as if when they get out they have a place to go, or a job, or something where they can take care of themselves. It's inexcusable for us to say, well, this person doesn't have a right to do this because they did something that was against the law. The fact of the matter is that's the whole point of it, is that once you're done with your time and you're released, that you are just the same as anybody else. You can vote, you can do all the things that any other citizen can do.
I went to prison from 2007 to 2009, and in there I got to do a lot of self-perception where I was actually alone on my own for the first time, and I got cleaned out and I got my mind right. To be a good provider for my family, I had to learn how to love me first, and it took me going there to that place. But as I was there, I mean, I just realized that the whole time I was living my life as a little boy trapped inside a man's body with my decision process. So my decisions and what I was doing got me here. When I went in there, I didn't know when I was going to see my kids again. Half of my kids were in foster care. The other half were with my wife. She's addicted to cocaine. I didn't know when I was going to see them again, but when I gave them it all to God, I knew that this peace came over me. Everything is going to be all right. My focus was getting me together so I could be a better man for my children and for me. It just depends on the individual, I think. It just depends on that. Because I could blame the system. It's easy to blame everything. I was molested at a young age. I didn't have a father. My stepdad was an alcoholic. He abused my mother. I could blame everything. But when are you going to take responsibility as an individual and as a man and say enough is enough and quit blaming and just step up to the plate?
So I was just sleeping in the back of my car and I just climbed to the front. I do it in the dark. Most of the time, it's less conspicuous.
Leaving Salt Lake City was hard, not only because it was my third straight day of travel, but because people had wanted me to document the homeless situation there as well. I had simply run out of time. Other cities that people told me I had to visit were Phoenix, Arizona, Houston, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Providence, Rhode Island, Atlanta, Georgia, and the list goes on.
Executive Director of Street Roots, a street newspaper in Portland, Oregon. Homelessness in Portland, Oregon is much like homelessness in any urban environment. We have around 16,000 people that experience homelessness in a given year. On any given night, around 2,000 to 3,000 people sleeping outdoors. And over the last 2 years of the recession, we've seen those numbers skyrocket. At the same time, we've seen resources decline. So
most of the places I applied to in Maryland required a physical address. They wouldn't settle for a P.O. box. Plus you have to pay for that too. I mean, like if I've been looking on Craigslist for odd jobs that don't require ID because I can't get a job with a Maryland ID here. They could be out in Beaverton or Hillsborough or wherever. I don't even have $5 to get out to Hillsborough. I have no way to start the income rolling. I have no way to get anywhere. I have to stay here where all the feeds are, but there's no jobs here.
In my situation, I don't have ID, social security card, or birth certificate because those were all stolen from me when I first got down here. Yeah, and it was by somebody I supposedly could have trusted. And he actually wasn't homeless, he was a housey.
I mean, try applying for a job when you can't list a number, you can't list an address to get hired. They won't hire you if they know you're homeless. So it's all about hiding the fact that you're homeless. If you're not able to do that, once you're dirty and stinky and you appear homeless, you're kind of...
I went out last night just talking to people with way different backgrounds and different needs.
Facing this crisis and dealing with this crisis is going to take a local solution to a national problem.
There need to be real resources put into addressing homelessness and ending homelessness and preventing homelessness in the first place. It can actually cost quite a bit less money to give somebody the kind of care that Jericho gives, as opposed to putting them in a temporary shelter, having them be on the streets again, being in hospitals, being in jail and prison. It's actually much cheaper, and it's about shifting resources, and that's always politically difficult, but it needs to be done.
If you combine a real financial investment with some good strategies, and invest as much autonomy and responsibility in the folks who are outside themselves as you can, and they're able to take, you know, I think we can get on top of this. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the people go inside. I'm seeing the strategies work. I'm seeing us stretch the dollars we have further.
So I'm in San Francisco, and I just met with an organization, and they were saying that poor can't move anywhere, so actually the poor are local San Franciscans, and which is interesting because I'm running out of money, and it cost me $6 to get into San Francisco on the Bay Bridge, $7 for parking, for all day parking, and I don't have enough money to go anywhere else to park. Really, I really gotta watch it, so I'm stuck where I'm at.
Now, let me be clear. There are some people that have, out of bad choices, ended up homeless. And out of those bad choices, now they've gotten stuck. And they don't see a way out. It's a responsibility for us, we the people, to provide those options.
All I had left was gas money to get home. I had no choice. I could either scavenge in San Francisco or drive inland to Sacramento, where I had family who would feed me. I chose the latter. I could have been stuck for real. It just didn't seem like a good choice.
You need help. It's not hard. You gotta bite the bullet sometime and just, like, you know, get that stuff out of the way and realize you need help.
They're not homeless people. They're people who happen to be homeless.
It sneaks up on some people. Don't think you'll never land on the street. While you still got a roof over your head, you can't just feel secure.
When you see a homeless person on the street, it's important to remember that it could be you in a year, it could be you in a month. It doesn't matter who you are, what your deal is, what you like to do. It doesn't matter. Anybody can be homeless. And I'm one of those people. I'm not mentally unstable, I'm not a drug addict. But I'm here and I'm stuck. And if you're a normal person and you get stuck here, you're going to be there for a long time. I guarantee it.